Look at that. Perfect. New 170 amp Balmar alternator.
How cool was that new Balmar alternator? Love it. Still spending lots of money on King's Pride. Thanks for watching and following this project. It's going to be 2 years when we're done. Rumors are true. It is going to be sold. But I've been getting a few emails. We have a few people interested that might want to buy the boat, and it's definitely for sale. So there'll be information on Cruisers College website, but some separate videos on how far we've gotten with the boat and the bidding procedures, what to expect. So we're going to have the boat on Yacht World and up for auction in May. We're going to have viewings in May. We got the Anacortes Boat and Yacht Show in conjunction with Trawler Fest. So there's just lots happening around the school, but what we really need is more technicians. All of our students are working, they're employed, they're heading out, and the phone and the email just doesn't stop. So fall is a great time to enroll in Marine Techs. As you watch this video, if you know somebody who wants to learn these skills and how to fix boats, we're the place to go.
Okay, there's our distribution wall, the disc wall. It's coming together. I like it. There was the old mock-up.
Back in here is behind in the nav area, behind where the DC panel will be in some of those controls. So you've got to start with landing all of your DC negatives, your bus bar, our Servo GX, all of this equipment in that area. And also we're doing some comprehensive spreadsheets with wiring diagrams and how far each conductor goes and how big is it going to need to be and stuff like that. But we're ready to start pulling wire in April. We're going to get the electrical system done for sure. In the starboard lazarette area here in the cockpit, there's the Skyla battery charger. That's going to be the European, it'll take any voltage actually, but you'll be able to plug it in 220/50 cycle and charge the batteries. The Multi Plus is on the wall there. You can see Woody's refrigeration compressor. He's going to talk about that. And the isolation transformer there on the starboard side of the Multi Plus. So the US 30 amp will go in through there. Lots of great equipment mounting going on. Now we're up to the putting in the wires and making this thing work.
Okay, Giovanni, what are you doing?
I am running the new cable for our steering system.
Why would you do that?
Just kind of might be a good idea if this boat wants to cross oceans. And the one that came out of here wasn't too bad, but I mean, we're putting all new equipment in this thing. We might as well make it nice while we got it all open and exposed. So we got a brand new quadrant downstairs. Just put in I just finished up the rudder stop today. We're putting new steering cables in here. Pulled the compass out today. We're gonna get a new light on that thing. What else?
Oh, I like it.
Got wires here for our compass light. Got cables for our transmission and for our throttle. The way around.
It's all good.
It's
It's gonna be nice.
It's gonna be awesome.
We're putting in the water and go for a boat ride. That's what I want to do.
It's non-negotiable. With all the hours that have gone in this boat, not a chance in hell this is going to any buyer without the scallywags taking it for a test sale.
Now we're talking.
And of course, why wouldn't we? I mean, you gotta make sure you get the bugs out of it. Make sure it doesn't sink when you drop it in.
That's right. And this is Fun Fridays, right? Class work is done. No tests today. We're just down here making stuff happen.
Yep. Doing.
Okay, had to get the fuel tank put in. No, it's put in. Finalized. All the details. It's got this big angle iron bracket that holds the front down, flanges in the back. That, of course, needed to be cleaned up and painted. You know, it's just like, oh, one more thing. But we're getting it done. So we put on, we cleaned off that bracket. We put on some zinc chromate primer, some good etching primer. Put on some paint.
Okay, so down in here, we got our temporary wall for our steps and our garbage, and we have an electrical panel down here. In here, we did some pretty good work. We had to grind out down below, made a little Cusa board corner to support the intersection of these two bulkheads eventually. And we put some cleats in there. We still got to do a little bit of painting. We can put the bottom in here That's where the start battery is going to set, because we need to get the wiring hooked up to the Yanmar and to our bilge pumps and things like this. I say, hey Gio, what do we got going on here?
We are testing out the new steering on King's Pride. She got a brand new quadrant, brand new steering cable, the original but very nice turning blocks down there. They're all bronze. So we've taken the compass off of this thing, cleaned it up. We got new lighting for the compass, nice new LEDs. So we're gonna tighten up this cable, get everything looped up, and wire in the new compass lights, and she's gonna have brand new steering.
That's huge. Safety, check. Yeah. Steering,
check.
Important to have before we launch.
True.
Big deal. This is what are we doing? March update here. So
right.
Fantastic.
And we got the positive rudder stops installed down there. There's a big beefy piece of aluminum down there that we custom made that's keeping this rudder from going too far port, too far starboard. That is within specifications for all of the manufacturer's recommendations for your autopilot. So.
Awesome. Thanks for all the hard work.
Hi, I'm Woody Wentworth of Iceboat Marine, but I'm also on the staff here of Skagit Valley College. This next clip is of Christian, one of our second-year students doing a work cooperative with me. We're installing a refrigerator system on King's Pride, the school's boat. And here, what you see is a compressor that we had to do a workaround on. The manufacturer sent it to us with the in and the out, the suction and the discharge reversed, actually braced together wrong. So we're having to void the factory warranty and cut and paste. So we're cutting and we're brazing back on the service nipples in the opposite direction, the male-females. So the purpose of this is to hook it up to the evaporator, which you can see here, poking through the from the ice box on out. You see the copper lines. You go to the keel cooler there, which is where it condenses, and then there's all these coils, including the capillary tube, and then above the platform you can see the compressor, and that's where we did the brazing. We did the brazing in the shop and then reinstalled it. There's the evaporator. That's the working end of any refrigerator. And you can see that along with that is a thermostat, and then on the other side of the wall you see that hole. That hole is for a pass-through refrigerator freezer, and that's the dual thermostat there that allows us to, it's thermostatically controlled with a mini fan that pulls the cold over from the freezer and shares it with the fridge. That way we don't need a second compressor for the fridge, and that's a key point. Those are about $300, well worth the price. Added to the whole system, it's a $2,000 system. Evaporator, compressor, regular thermostat, and then that thermostatic fan. And it's perfect for a sailboat like that.
So Woody, is this, if you have a boat, is this a do-it-yourself project?
I would say this is a do-it-yourself project, as long as you're willing and comfortable putting a hole in the bottom of your boat in the yard. So that's the only part that I think is maybe a little bit tricky. It's not as hard as it sounds, and the manufacturer tells you what size hole saw to use. But other than that, keel, and that's an unusual thing, a keel cooled, it's very efficient, without a fan, save energy, and they're really good. I've got one on my boat, Mike Beamer has one on his boat, and I would put one again on my boat. So that's a really good way to go. So definitely in the do-it-yourself category, around 2,000 in parts and probably a couple days, fat days of labor.
Okay, then the next thing we had going on was the anchor and chain. Former student Rich came by and helped. He got the anchor winch installed and the wiring finished up and stuff like that. Tyler used his skills from rigging class and put on a piece of 3-strand, so if we needed to cut it loose. The anchor and chain is old and needs to be replaced, but we're going to be doing sea trials. We're going to let the new owner pick their favorite anchor, right? I mean, anchors are one of those things. So we just figured, hey, we need to get it on. If we're doing a sea trial and something goes wrong, we have to have the parking brake. So, but the anchor locker is clean, it's new, the winch is working great, it's all serviced. We pulled it all on up off the pallet. and it's just such a good feeling. So to have former students helping us out. We've got David, also former student, working on woodworking, and just seeing the project come together is super awesome. And so one of the first things we did, if you look back in the video, before we came from Shelter Bay to Anacortes, is we made sure that we could deploy the anchor. So before the boat was back in the water, we're making sure that the same anchor works, but better than when it came in to our shop there at Anacortes.
Hey, some great stuff happening here. The fuel tank. The tank was in and sitting here, but we had to finish it up. That bracket on the end, we had to clean up and paint, prime paint, because it was just, corroded. We got the supports in across the tank here. There's a couple more. Still need to finish the verticals that keep the tank from going side to side. But new fasteners in the end. Tighten down all of the inspection ports installed down in this end. We've got our new plate all installed and sealed in. We're doing pressure testing, so once we have the pressure test complete, we'll be able to work on supply and return for the engine and fuel fill. If we're going to make that Yanmar run, we got to put some fuel in this main tank. Now that we've got the tank tested, we can screw that piece of floor down over that inspection port and finish up this mast wiring and put the settee back together. Making great progress this month. Got to put a new piece of plywood in there because that holes, those aren't right, and build a piece of plywood for the end here. But things are looking up.
Next thing we had to knock out was the old exhaust was like 1.5 inches and the new is 2.5 inches. So we bought a beautiful stainless steel with a little flapper to keep following seas out of the exhaust system. Nice. But I had to make a little template, put in a little backer block, so I had a centering hole, and this was spring break. Students, as I mentioned, were gone mostly, so just decided to get this project done. When they come back, engines class, they wanted to hook up the throttle, the shift, the fuel, and the exhaust. So I was going to just kind of get the preliminary work done. So big 2 3/4 inch or whatever it is hole in the back of the boat, but that's what you got to do. And the transom's nice and thick, it fit well, and we were going to get the hull buffed and waxed, or at least buffed before we put it back in the water. Well, it's easy to do. Well, you don't want to go around things like the new exhaust, so grab the buffing wheel, some rubbing compound, and cleaned it up, looked real nice. And then we put in the new exhaust and tightened up the nut. It looks great.
Okay, so this is pretty awesome. We're going to come out of the back of the muffler. We got our new exhaust hose here, and it's going to come over here. We got to put chafe protection and stuff. This is just dry fit. There's the little shelf for the propane locker, which is accessible from there, which looks really good. And then we're going to be able to exit out. So it's going to come up in the overhead with a nice loop, and then this should fit right on here on our new. We'll get some 5200 on that, and then this right here is going to work out nicely. We push this up to the overhead. We can put some nice strain relief on it. It's going to be out of the way. We can neaten that up, but the good news is that it looks like the exhaust system will work out just fine and stay out of the way for a potential linear drive and our rudder stop and everything with this new through-hull exhaust fitting. So at this stage of the game, we like it when things look like they're going to work out, and we can make everything work out. We just don't want to spend a ton of extra time sorting out new stuff. So the exhaust is looking great.
Well, that's a wrap. March update. It was successful. For the little bit of time we had, we really made it count. And from the film, you can see we are ready to finish putting this boat together. We won't get it all done. That's crazy talk, but we're making good progress. April, looking forward to that. We're already starting to do those projects. We got students back. Everybody's excited. Looking forward to May. Hopefully we get to see some of you. We really appreciate the support of watching, following us along as we train new technicians to get out there and to work and put one of these old boats back out on the ocean and to go sailing. And we're looking forward to that. Carrot's right out there. We're taking this boat for a ride pretty soon. Thanks for watching.